I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I'm just interesting to hear how your project's developing.
God, I haven't seen you for so long. I remember when I joined the temple, right, in 2000, then you were there. And then you left the temple not long thereafter, right?
Yeah, that's right. Can you
And then
hear
I
me
haven't
now?
Huh?
Can you hear
You
me
can
now?
hear and see
Yeah, I
you.
can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that was a long time ago. I remember coming to your parents' house and helping you grab your stuff.
Oh my God. Yeah. I barely remember that. It was so long ago.
Yeah.
In Suffolk. Yeah, I guess it was my mum's house near Ipswich.
No, it seemed like it was southeast London way. Maybe it was your girlfriend. I don't know.
Oh no, that was probably my flat where I was staying.
Oh, maybe. So a lot's gone on for you since.
Yeah, and for you as well.
Probably, yeah.
For all of us. Okay, good. What's his name? Veerabhadra's waiting. I need to let him in. Okay, that's good. A few devotees are joining today. I thought it was going to be a quiet day today for some reason.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol!
Well, apologies for being late.
Welcome. Thank you for coming. We're recording, so everybody, no swearing from now on, please. Otherwise, we'll have to bleep it afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you turn your video on, Veerabhadra?
Yeah, I'm just trying to hold on.
Okay. Is your wife there too?
No, she's busy with the kids.
There he is. Haribol. Nice to see you.
Hare Krishna.
How's life?
Good. Just was running some errands and stuff, so just ran back quickly to the house.
Okay. Yeah, Veerabhadra Prabhu. Oh, maybe what we can do now. Oh, there's more devotees who are waiting. That's good. I have to let them in. So Paramananda Prabhu is coming, and Amrita Gopal Prabhu is coming. Okay, I got some. It's so hot in here. Oh, it's hot anyway, and then start raining. It's so humid. Paramananda Prabhu is here with us. Can you hear us?
Hare Krishna, yes, I can. Can you hear me?
I can hear you and I can see you, and I'm resonating with you.
Good.
And Amrita's just joined. Oh, Cecilia's coming too. Wow, we're doing pretty good. Fired up. So you've got a landscape gardening business, Nick Prabhu.
That's correct, yeah. I'm based near Brighton. Peacehaven I live in. It's a little sort of town outside of Brighton. So yeah, I was really, interested to hear that a little project might be happening down the road.
Yeah, I mean, it's still like, if it's Ashford, it's still like an hour and a half away, I think, from Brighton, but...
It is, but it feels closer than going up to the manor or...
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in
else that's
Hungary,
happening.
the farm there, it's 2.5 hours away from Budapest, so...
Yeah.
Farm projects are generally in the middle of nowhere, so to speak.
Well, yeah, that's it.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Okay, so Amrita Gopal Prabhu is trying to join us. Oh, he's here with us now. Maybe you remember Amrita Gopal Prabhu, Nick?
Yeah. We crossed paths in Brighton a few years ago, but I think I'm not sure. He must have moved somewhere. I'm not sure where he went.
Yeah, where did he go? He said... Where
Canterbury?
Did he move? Yeah, Canterbury. I think he said he went to Canterbury.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just connecting. Cecilia, are you there? She is there, but ask her to unmute. Okay, when everybody's connected, then I think we should do a few little introductions as well, because I mean, I know everybody, but not everybody else knows everybody. So for everybody to know everybody, we should introduce ourselves. That's my logic. Okay. Anyway, let's start because it's getting boring. Okay, Veerabhadra Prabhu, can you introduce yourself? Who are you?
Hi, well, Veerabhadra Das. I was joined got into Krishna consciousness in like 2008, and then joined the ashram in Cape Town for a bit, and then moved back to Soho Street where I met True and Krishna Prue before I actually went to Cape Town, and then lived there for a couple more years. And then, yeah, since moving out, I did a degree in English, been doing some other bits and stuff. And then, yeah, just always had it in my kind of back of my mind, just the dream to do some sort of farm project. And then, yeah, saw this on Facebook a couple of weeks ago, whenever it was, and then jumped at the chance.
Yeah, we spoke a little bit, and yeah, Virabhadra is very enthusiastic about the project, as is his wife. Can you tell us about your family as well, your wife?
Yeah, so yeah, my wife Radhika, she is Doctor of Ayurveda, or an Ayurveda practitioner, I forget the actual title. So yeah, she's been practicing for a while doing that, and obviously having kids and stuff, so that's kind of, you know, slowed it down a little bit, but they're getting a bit older and almost kind of school age kind of thing, so she's picking that up again, and pushing it on a bit more. And yeah, so she's been doing that for a while, and kind of focuses on pregnancy and mother care, baby care, that kind of thing. So she's interested in getting involved in the health centre and everything. My side of things, I'm really into trying to grow food, and, you know, hopefully make a business out of doing some sort of food growing kind of thing. Not 100% sure exactly yet, but yeah. So.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. Okay, Nick Mion Prabhu, go ahead, tell us who you are, because I think it's the first time you took part in one of our meetings, isn't it?
Yeah, sure. Hare Krishna. I'm Nick. I've met the devotees about 20 odd years ago, or more probably now. I practiced a little bit. I'm not a great practitioner of Bhakti Yoga or anything like that, but I'm interested in the project and in self-sufficiency, and I'd like to help if I could. I've done a landscape gardening 2-year horticultural sort of degree thing, a fair bit of practical application of that. I've done a permaculture design course as well, and I grow food at home. So yeah, I would like to just lend my help really, and get involved at some level, and yeah, see what can be done.
Okay. Yeah, we'll finish on going to the introductions, but I'm interested, Nick, how you think you could be involved, or how you'd like to be involved in the project.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get around to that in a minute. Okay.
Sure.
Amrita Gopalpur or Adrian Kent, as you're listed up here.
Haribol, Prabhu.
Haribar.
Sorry, I'm a bit late. I had trouble signing in.
No problem.
Hey, Nick, how you doing, mate?
Hi, Hare Krishna. Not bad, you?
Good to see you. Good to see you.
And you? Well, I can't see you, but yeah.
Okay. Am I not showing though?
Just your name is there.
Yeah, just.
What
Oh, there we
about
go.
now?
Yeah.
We can see you now. You got very similar beards, you and
Yeah,
Nick.
matching beards.
Yeah.
Matching beards, yeah.
Both a bit grey. Oh, signal's gone.
It was too much.
Beard cam broke it.
And Rita's like gone into the ether somewhere.
Oh, am I not here?
Okay, you're here again now.
Okay. How you doing, Tarun?
Yeah, I'm surviving. I'm in the middle of moving, which is pretty chaotic, but yeah, I'm still alive.
Oh, that's great that you're actually doing the move then for Tuesday, yeah?
Yeah.
End of the month.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well done. Is that to Headcorn or somewhere else?
No, Ashford.
To Ashford. Okay, cool.
So just give us a little intro who you are, because I don't know if everybody. Well, actually, no, we do. Maybe, yeah. You know, so you did an intro last time with Cecilia. Cecilia knows you. Paramananda knows you. Nick knows you anyway. Okay, so you're cool. We know who you are. I know who you are.
Sure.
Okay, then we can. Okay, and Cecilia, I think she was in the meeting the other day. She did an introduction. Okay, that's good. Then we're covered. Okay. So, what was I thinking to say to devotees? Okay, there's a few things I wanted to say here, but I don't want to like take up all the time here. Today I can't I can't really do like an epic meeting like we were doing the last few weeks, like 2.5-hour meetings, but like an kind of hour is good for me today. So I just give a quick update, but I'm really into hearing like from you all, like what you're thinking of the project, how you want to connect and things like that. Update from my side is that we're moving down on Tuesday, and I know I've said that a few times and I've written that twice on Facebook. But I think that will change, you know, the project to some degree. It's one thing talking about it and saying, yeah, we want to have a farm project in Kent, and as Paul knows, and that's been like being said for the last 5 or 6 years, but we're actually going to be there. So I mean, that will make a difference, that we're actually going to be in the location that we're interested in. And just since making that decision that we're coming down, it's like so many devotees have popped up from the woodwork, you know, in and around Kent, which was really amazing, because we were dealing with the devotees in the group and saying, you know, who's going to move down, when they're going to move down. But then so many devotees are like popping up who are in and around the area. So that's nice. Actually, when we come down on Tuesday, Priyakun Peru and his wife and maybe another devotee are going to come and help us unpack, and 3 devotees from Canterbury are going to come and meet us and help us unpack. So it's like, you know, there's devotees around who are enthusiastic to take part in the project, which is nice. And then when we're down there, then I'm enthusiastic to have a look at that property as soon as possible, that one that's in Headcorn. Has everybody seen that in the group? I think so. Yeah, everybody's seen that. Because when you have a look at it, then, you know, obviously it makes a big difference than just seeing it theoretically on the internet. So that's good. If we're going to be down there, then we can take more practical steps. And at the moment, I think the thing that we need most from devotees is for devotees to think how they want to be involved in the project. And when they come up with some kind of decision, like, you know, I'd like to be involved in, say, Virabhadra Prabhu was saying, growing food, or his wife would be involved in the health center. She's an Ayurvedic practitioner. Or Paramananda Prabhu was saying that, you know, he'd be interested in working on the land or working with the cows. Then what other devotees are doing, and this may not be so, visible in the group, is we have a few other groups that not everybody is a member of. Like we have the Bhakti Project group, but we also have a core group, which is kind of like the devotees who have been the most committed and dedicated to seriously taking part in the project, and they're ones that can kind of vote on important things that we need to do. And then we have other groups. We have a health center, Bhakti Health Center group. We have a Bhakti Care Home group. We have a Bhakti Education group. So what we need to do really is for devotees to decide how they want to be involved in the project out of the different options that are there, and then to make a plan for how that would work, including financially. And then we can put them in a particular group and they can discuss that with devotees. And then we have different departments. And if some of you have seen the vision document, I was just editing it now because some devotees have come and some devotees have gone. Then it can be quite organized. And what some devotees have been doing, like Virabhadra Prabhu was doing, is making business plans as well. That we have this group, and we have this project. So there's one devotee, Rasananda Prabhu, he made a business plan for growing fruit, for growing strawberries. And he was saying how much investment would be needed for him to set that up, the polytunnel and buying strawberries and stuff like that. And then how much work it would require and how much he thinks he could sell them for at the end. And then if we have these kind of practical plans, then what we can do is we can go to our investor or investors and say, look, we have this property in mind, whichever one it may be. So we have this property in mind, and we have these devotees who are willing to engage in these different activities. And this is our, kind of amateurish business plan that we came up with, because these investors are like, serious businessmen, at least the ones that I know. And what do you think? and then that can turn into something which is concrete. And this is the kind of thing that they're interested in seeing. So I think that's a very important thing. Just as Prabhupada said that we need independently minded people. So don't anybody like wait around for me to do everything and like organize everything and push everybody and lead everything. It's like kind of the idea of this project is like a Sharanagati model where Grihastas will be having independence. Of course, there will be interdependence because it's a community, but Grihastas will be maintaining their independence, their own financial independence, and be having their own businesses. So it's up to devotees to develop their own little aspects of the project, and then if they have a vision, if and when they have a vision, then we can try and materialize that as a group. And if we're doing that as a group, then that can actually be a real project. Any comments on that or any questions?
Can you hear me, Tarun?
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask, like, what's your view on, like, say, this devotee wants to grow strawberries, for example. So he's using some of the land to do that. Does he have to purchase that land to do it, or does he rent the land from the community, or what's the money going back? Or is it just there's the land, get on with it, and it's all free, or what? How's it going to work?
I think those things will have to be worked out a little bit later. The mood is that we'll try and facilitate devotees. It definitely won't be that they have to buy land. Otherwise, you know, they'll be like, I don't know. Lots of devotees ask me that, do I have to have money to take part in this project? No, you don't. You don't have to have money to buy land. I think that the first thing, as Rupa Goswami says, is utsahan. The first thing is enthusiasm, you know. We want to have a desire. If devotees have a desire to engage in this project, to live simply, think highly, be amongst other devotees, develop a farm project as Prabhupada wanted, then we can help manifest that in different ways. And if devotees are just responsible and trying to think about how they could maintain themselves, then we can help. I think we can try and facilitate them. So it's like maybe in the beginning it will be that there'll be land that they can use, or maybe they'll have to pay some small kind of rent. But if they're just starting the business, then you know they're not going to have like an income. It will take some time to start it up. So the mood of the investor was, when I spoke to him before, that he's happy to help devotees develop different businesses off the land. And so I think we should come up with plans first, and he'll help in those different ways. It's not 100%, but that's the idea. So I don't know, they wouldn't have to buy. If they had to rent, I don't think it would be something very substantial. The main thing that he was talking about is he doesn't just want to give money, like hand over money, here's a donation for the project. As I said to a few devotees, he wants devotees to try and make the project self-sustaining. So if we're trying to do that and we're coming up with plans and ideas how to do that, then my understanding was he'll try and facilitate that.
So I guess it's more in the mood of give a man a fish or give a man a fishing rod, kind of, you know, teach them how to get on their feet and have a prolonged business for the years to come, kind of thing, instead of just a donation that will sort them out for a few months or a year or whatever.
Yeah, but I don't know if fishing will be very like good.
I knew that was going to get caught out.
Because fishing rods are really expensive. But yeah, exactly. Yeah, teaching people how to grow food as opposed to just giving them food to eat.
Could I perhaps I don't understand the sort of background to you guys going down there. A self-sufficient farm, I sort of perceive as people living there and getting their food, milk, etc. from the land. But I've heard a lot about businesses and stuff. I don't know this farm in Canada that you mentioned. Can you talk me through that?
Yeah. Well, Nick, what were you thinking? That's nice that how would we get to that point of having a self-sufficient farm where we grow our food and eat it and milk our cows and stuff? Like, unless we're all millionaires and we're just going to buy a farm and buy all the cows and stuff, it's like...
Well, I understand. Obviously, the initial purchase of the land. Obviously, that has to happen somehow or other, or it's rented, or something. Is your investor saying, "Okay, well, I'll help you guys, but then I want some money back"? Or
Yeah, that's an investor that he wants to get a return on his investment. Yeah.
wow, what's he? So is he helping to purchase it, or is he helping to fund projects?
No, well, it's not. It hasn't. We haven't like set exactly how much or how it would work exactly.
Yeah.
I think these are things we need to work out, and it also doesn't have to just be him. In fact, I think in some ways it would be better if it's not just him. Like we were discussing with devotees before, like Krishna Namaprabhu, who's been involved since the beginning, that the devotees can invest as well. Some of us have a little bit of money in the bank, and
Yeah.
and it's like in the Sharanagati project in Canada, devotees own their own parts of the land, and then there it's easier for them to build their own houses on that land. So it's not just all about the investor, it's about all of us as well. Somebody has 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, whatever, maybe not
Yeah.
millions, but they have some money. Then they can, our kind of understanding was that they can buy a portion of the project. They can buy a piece of land of the project, and then they can take responsibility for that, or they can let somebody else farm some of it, or they can rent some of it out to some other devotees. So that is the kind of model in Sharanagati. It's not like I was living in New Vajradam for 10 years, where it's all owned by ISKCON. There's one guru who's in charge of the whole project pretty much, and many of his disciples there. The model in Sharanagati was more like a few families wanted to kind of look after themselves, so they went and bought a big piece of land, and then they sectioned it off, and it was like it was like a holdings company. That's how they registered it.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah.
And then they sold off shares of that company, and one share, if you bought one share, then you would get 5 acres of land. So they sold off like pieces of the land to different devotees, and then the different devotees who had these sections of land, then they were responsible for themselves, that they maintained themselves. One of them has an organic farm. Other ones, they were still working in the city in Vancouver. They were going back and forth. Like even some of them, they were just staying on the farm at the weekends, and they were living in the city in the week and then coming back at the weekends over time.
Okay.
Life is very cheap there. It was very, because they could build their own houses on the land there, so it was not expensive to live. They didn't have to generate a lot of money. But that principle of owning land or owning buildings is not just for the investor. I think probably, I don't know what you think, Krishna Namaprabhu, but my kind of feeling is that the more devotees that invest, the better, as long as they're nice devotees, like kind of dependable devotees, because then it makes it more of a community. If it's just owned by one investor and we're all like little kind of cowering pawns, then it's a slightly different mood. So I think it's good if we can attract investment from devotees, and that's something that we should think about, I think. What do you think, Krishna Namaprabhu?
Hare Krishna, everyone. What we were discussing with my wife, Mani, that we all probably would benefit from an investor who is also happy to be as a mentor, as a business mentor to all of us, like kind of a manager, who is investing in us or in our businesses, and also who is helping us to develop it, to improve it, and to make money there, make him money there. And as more devotees invest, as better. The more devotees invest, the better. I'm just a bit lost now in the lot of brainstorming. Sorry.
Okay.
It's a matter I would like to discuss with you tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I have various thoughts that we have this devotee investor who's very nice. He's a very nice devotee. I think he's chanting 16 rounds. His spiritual master gave him the instruction to help ISKCON farm projects with his money. And he's very cool. I really like him. I've had lots of meetings with him. But I also am a little bit wary about being overly dependent upon him. That I think that it's a model and it's a plan. It's like, it's different than the regular ISKCON project where it's just, ISKCON property and ISKCON everything, ISKCON running everything. That there's independence for Grihastas here. But if we had come up with plans and we're enthusiastic and well organized, and especially if it's a whole team and it's a whole project that's coming together, then you can get investment from other places as well. It doesn't have to be this one investor that we're going to get it from.
Yeah, sure.
And
Can I ask as well? Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just in terms of his investment, do you know whether he wants like permanent stakes in things, or is it kind of like a loan kind of basis, or is it going to be as it kind of play it by ear, and some might be a permanent thing, some might be like a temporary loan type?
He's flexible. I think these kind of things are a little bit airy-fairy at the moment because we don't have like a structured plan. We could talk to him, but also I spoke to him recently. He was like, well, I think we need to come up with a plan first. But he said various things are possible, that he could purchase the land and he would be the owner, and then he can sell off sections of the land to different devotees. He said that he could purchase the land, but the land would be in the name of us, and that it would be a debt that we had to him, like the price of the land. He said he could act like, what he was going to do with Sitaram Prabhu is he was going to purchase land there and just be a silent partner, not be involved in the running of the project, and then just share the profit with Sitaram Prabhu. So he's flexible. I mean, obviously he doesn't want to be like, done out of a deal or anything. But I think he's quite flexible. And he was saying also before that he's happy to help us make business plans. And so he's an experienced businessman, and he's happy to help us to develop in that field. Cecilia, are you there? Can you hear us?
Hi.
Hey.
Hi, Paul. I'm here with Brandon as well.
Hey, Hare Krishna.
Haribol, can you turn your video on, or is it impossible?
Yeah.
Me? Yeah. Hold on.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol, Brandon, nice to see you.
Hey.
I think
Okay.
Brandon had a question actually.
Yeah.
Okay, shoot away.
Can I ask a question?
Mhm.
I was just wondering that, for example, Cecilia and I, we were talking about possibilities of investing from devotees, but for Cecilia and I, we are extremely poor, but we have loads of enthusiasm and we have lots of labor skills and labor and just being Krishna's donkeys, sort of thing. Do you think there's possibilities that that for people like us, that we can come and live for exchange of service, like do full-time service, like almost like how you would do it in a temple, but at least until there's some idea of like independence of having the ability to have money. But
or if someone else has a business plan to be like to help to be part of that, whatever. Or yeah,
definitely. It's not like I was talking about starting businesses, but this also comes up a lot, that not everybody has that kind of Vaishya mood where they're like, yeah, I got this idea and I'm gonna, I want to do this. This is my kind of avenue, and this is how I want to, how do you say, chalk out my future, and I see this niche. And it's like not all of us have that nature. So some of us just want to be simple, employees, not have to worry about that. Just pay me my paycheck at the end of the month and take care of me. So yeah, that's definitely something that is totally bona fide. And I've said it lots of times that you don't have to have money to take part in this project, but we also don't have the infrastructure at the moment where we're like a temple that we say, okay, yeah, come along and we'll just give you service. And because at the moment we don't have any land, we don't have a building, we don't have these kind of things. So that's one reason why I really want to go and see that property that I've sent around a few times, because I want to see, like, you know, see it and see what the feel of it is, what we could do with it. Like Amrita Gopal, we were suggesting the other day, that could be the health center, or, you know, I was thinking maybe it could be the temple on the project, or I was just thinking the other day, Amrita, that maybe, you know, that could be the health center, and that would generate an income. And one of the smaller outbuildings, that could be the temple in the beginning, and that could be like, you know, kind of smaller entrance for the temple in the project. So, but I really want to see it, and, you know, and like get a kind of feel for it. What's the possibilities of it? But yeah, in terms of practically joining to the project now, then devotees will have to be kind of financially independent in the beginning, and as we are now, it's like, you know, we've all got our money coming in from somewhere, and we're all paying the bills somehow or another. We have different solutions here, like Amrita's in a little flat, which is quite economical. Paramananda's on his houseboat. Cecilia and Brendan are with Cecilia's parents. Krishnanam's just earning tons and tons of money and is living in a big palace. No, anyway, he's, you know, he's a financially independent adult, you know, paying his bills, living in a house with his family. So
I think there will be devotees who will run businesses and happy to have two nice devoted employees already. Maybe not from day one, but soon, if it happens.
yeah.
Yeah, also if I could say, I feel like I have ideas, like dream ideas about what I'd like to do, like if I had a business or something, but I don't know, I'm only 21 and very inexperienced and don't even know how I would begin writing a business plan. So I feel like at this point we'd just have to join in whatever's happening, and yeah.
Well, Nick, you were saying you did you have experience in permaculture, right?
Yeah, I did a course. I've done the course, so I've got the T-shirt. But I've applied it a little bit at home. I grow veggies and stuff at home, but not on a huge scale. But I'm interested in using it as you know, as a way to grow food. Yeah.
And how? If we can just go to Nick for a second, because all of us have met before, except for Virabhadra, but we spoke personally. Like, Nick, how are you? I know you've got some, not issues, like with it being self-sustainable or something, the project, and what's all the money stuff and things like that. But and you wrote to me the other day on Messenger. Sorry if I was a bit short in the way that I responded, because, you know, we're open to having devotees have their opinions, having their take on the project. And I don't see myself as, like, you know, founder acharya of the Bhakti Project. And
I've got a photo of you on my mantelpiece already.
Oh, well, you can keep it there. They can stay there, but
Okay.
only if you're puja clean, please. Can you worship?
Sure. Sorry. Yeah.
And I like biscuits if you can offer biscuits.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, it's a different mood than the average ISKCON farm project. Like I was saying, the Sharanagati one, it's like a group of grihastas who have their own independence, they're maintaining themselves, but obviously they have some rules and regulations about how they live together. It's not that you can just do whatever you want. No, you have to, you know, and we need to get those rules together. I'm waiting for Bhakti Project. He's trying since a long time to get those from Sharanagati. What are the rules and regulations that they follow in that community to keep them unified, but at the same time allow some independence?
Yeah.
And although we have this management structure in the vision, it's not as constraining as you would say, like, you know, in a business or the average ISKCON temple. It's like, it's kind of there, but it's kind of looser, you know. Yeah, we need a management structure, because otherwise, you know, who's going to host the Zoom meeting, who's going to make the notes, who's going to, you know, wash the dishes, who's going to do what.
Yeah.
But at the same time, devotees, it will be a lot, I think it will be more, devotees will have more space to have their own independence.
So what were you going to say? You said that you were going to ask me something. Sorry.
Yeah, like how do you? I was going to say that you were saying that you're interested in the self-sufficiency aspect of the project, right?
Well, I suppose I run a business, and it's very full on, and just to run like with a couple of staff, it's quite exhausting. So in my mind, I'm thinking, there's this farm community down the road. We can go back to a simpler life and kind of farm the land and live off the land and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I was a bit like, oh my God, more business. Oh no, that doesn't sound much fun.
Okay, but then what are you envisaging? Because obviously you're still going to have to, pay your mortgage. You're still going to have to, pay your bills from Tesco. So, so obviously everybody needs an income to live.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah,
I mean,
it's true. We want to live a simple life. We want to live in harmony with nature. We want to have as much time as possible to chant and to hear.
Yeah.
And and it's not about economic development. It's just, it's just life. We're just thinking of ways to maintain the project so it can maintain. But the goal is to live simply, to have food, land, and water security for devotees.
Yeah.
Because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have to. How are you saying that you could be involved? How would you like to be involved?
Well,
Come and chill out.
Come and chill out and look at the flowers and the trees. Yeah. To be honest, I kind of thought that I would kind of sit at the back of the class and listen to what you guys are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Having not really had a lot to do with devotees for a while, but I would probably initially, because I have a house here and a business here, I would probably just want to volunteer to help labour-wise, possibly advice-wise on agricultural stuff or gardening stuff, a bit like Amrita. I mean, he's done lots of allotments and gardening and food production stuff, so I'd probably want to offer my help in that way initially. I'd be interested to work with cows. That's that sort of level initially, I suppose, just to volunteer. I mean, if you said to me, well, Nick, we need someone to take up the reins and do it, then maybe I'd think about doing that. But initially, I'll just kind of volunteer to help things get going, really. That's why I'd like to be involved.
And you like kind of simple living, high thinking farm projects. You have a landscape gardening business, so you're into that kind of natural kind of vibe, right?
Yeah, I am. But the thing is, the business it doesn't really. Although I'm doing landscape gardening, it's business, and it's not. You're doing mainstream commercial work. It's not quite like growing carrots and offering them to Krishna and stuff. It's concrete and it's the hard labor side of things.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's why I personally would like to do more natural gardening and farming. Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you. I just wanted to get an idea of how you envision yourself connecting at all to the project.
Yeah.
Okay, seeing as you mentioned cows, we have a group of Soho, which is Janatai Peru, Ahimsa, and this investor that I was mentioning. And I've been telling them recently, like, what I'm doing, what we're doing, how our project is developing. I sent them our vision and stuff like that. And I just wanted to read to you guys what Sitaram Prabhu wrote on the conference, because it's really nice. I'll just read you what he wrote. He said, personally, I think it's a great project. I am glad to see devotees venturing out to establish such initiatives. If you don't try, you don't get. No doubt it will be painful to achieve it, but that is part of the fun. And I have strong conviction that if the endeavor is sincere, the Lord reciprocates. May Radha Landaneshwara smile on your efforts and may your desires blossom. I am at your service. So that was very nice and encouraging from a devotee who's been doing a very similar thing to what we're doing and has been, you know, pretty successful. And his spiritual master is very pleased with him for what he is doing. So that was very nice and encouraging. Okay, any other comments or anything from the devotees? Any questions?
I was just wondering what you thought about, like, you know, we're talking about farm project and there has been a lot of talk about business and not so much about self-sufficiency, you know, working together as a community, more about the independence more than the interdependence. And I was just, there's lots we could talk about that as far as the self-sustainability and how that would work differently in the business. But like, say, for example, just something, say, like cooking, are we thinking to be having our farm where we're growing our food and taking it to a main kitchen and having community meals coming up 2 or 3 times a day? Or is it that everyone's just going to be cooking for themselves and just everyone much doing their own thing like that? Like, how far does the community aspect go and how far is it like separated?
Well, at the moment, that's why we need to. Well, at the moment, I'm going to be living in Ashford. You're living in Bexley. Virabhadra's living in Leicester, but thinking about moving down. Who knows when? He seems pretty hardcore. Last time I spoke to him, as does his wife. Paramananda is in his boat in Rochester, but is, you know, interested. So at the moment, I think we're going to be cooking for ourselves. But yeah, say it all depends on our model for, like, because we need a model based on something. Like, that's why I want to go and have a look at that land, that property that we're interested in. But before we decide, like, how we would live as a community, okay, well, I can just say something that could possibly happen. That, you know, say we purchase that property and it has a 5-bedroom house and then it has 2 outbuildings and 30 acres of land. Then potentially some devotees who were single could live in that building, and then 2 other families could live in those outbuildings. And then, I don't know, the topic of, you know, cooking for one another and stuff can be dealt with. But I don't know if that's like a key thing right now, that it's kind of really very uncertain, like exactly how it will develop. And it's not certain what we would want to use that building for, whether we would want to use it for a health center or whether we would want to have an ashram there, or whether we would want to have, like, you know, like people coming for treatments and they stay overnight, because that would be a lot more, you know, profitable. And then also these topics of developing affordable housing for devotees on the land is also there. So I think prasadam, how prasadam would work, that's like dependent on a lot of other different kind of factors that we're not sure about yet. Here's my wife and our little baby.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
In the middle of moving chaos.
Oh yeah.
So that's Raghunath. He's 5 months old. Sati Sanushi is 30 years old. And the other one is at somebody else's house today, so we could get some stuff done with moving. So, I mean, I'd say that's like a kind of 100 steps away at the moment, Amrita Gopal Prabhu. That I spoke to one devotee about the project in Sharanagati, and she was saying that one thing that's not lacking there, but some devotees could say if they came, is that there's a slight lack of community there. That all the devotees have their own land. Everyone has like at least 5 acres of land. Everybody has their own house. And it's like there may be kind of limited interaction amongst the devotees there. So what they do is every week they have a program on a Sunday, which everybody comes to in the whole community. So these kind of details, like you also brought up in the other meeting that we had, that you know, what kind of programs would we have? Would we have a morning program every day? Would everybody come for 7 o'clock, or would we, like, you know, have a chilled out bhajan, you know, twice a week? Or what are the programs that we would do to be together as a community? I think devotees, if they're inspired, they can write things down, what they would like, what they envisage, what they're inspired by, and then we can look at it. But I think it's definitely a way down the line. But yeah, it's good to have a vision and to kind of have a communal vision also, like what are our values and how do we want to live a life and work in this kind of community.
I think it's important. Yeah, go for it, Amrita.
Yeah, to know, like, how much is it going to be individual and how much are we going to be like as a community, like, say, for example, with growing the food, because there's a few people who are into growing food and we talk about growing it for business. Then as far as, are we going to grow it as a community or the community, or are people just going to have their own little allotments, lots of different allotments, and everyone's just, well, whatever you grow is what you get? Or are we going to have an area which is like, okay, that's the community field and we're going to grow all the food there for the community, you know?
Yeah, what do devotees think about this? What are devotees' feelings?
I quite like the idea of allotments, because I think that could be quite a practical way. Because obviously, also, you know, people that do get involved, they're not necessarily going to stay forever as well, and that's something we need to be realistic about. And allotments is a nice way that someone can come, be a part of the community, and if everyone's growing different varieties of things as well, then you can have a whole, like, you know, people exchange stuff and that kind of thing, and it kind of develops a bit more of a village community kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether, like, in kind of bigger scheme kind of plans that would work, but yeah, I think that would be quite a nice thing. Amrita Gopal was saying at the caravan license again, which I thought was kind of cool, because we've looked at tiny homes a lot and stuff, and if you build something that's mobile and you build it yourself, it's, you know, under about 10 grand, and it's like, it's a comfortable place to live. But if it, you know, for whatever reason, you know, that kind of, it's still movable. If licensing things change, it's not a big issue for us. We can adjust and that kind of thing. Yeah, I just think in terms of like you were saying, like 100 steps away, kind of seeing how the community is going to manifest, I think will depend a large part on all the individuals that are going to be involved. And like you've been saying as well, like, kind of what are they going to be wanting from it and stuff. And it's trying to match up all these different desires into like a whole thing. This is going to be a lot of work, but yeah, it's going to be rewarding as well. So. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. For any other comments?
Hi.
Yeah, I think sorry, Cecilia, you go on.
Oh, thank you. I don't know, I was just going to say, I guess we're imagining similar kind of, maybe there are some people that want to have a business growing specifically something, whatever. I was imagining that more like people would buy that bit of land and they'd be doing that as their own thing, or maybe bringing others in. But there'd also be a communal area where we could be growing food, whoever wants to be involved with that, the sharing, and like you just said about the kind of exchanging things as well. Because also I was thinking about things I'd like to do, like create a forest garden or something, and how that would work. It would be nice, I guess, in my dreams, like to have an area where we can, even if you don't have the money to specifically put down, like, this is my bit, I'm going to do this, that we can, if we're inspired by different things, we can, if other people are behind it, you know, you could set up a forest garden or do something else along those lines, so that, you know, there's a diversity of things going on.
A forest garden is actually really cool because it takes like almost zero effort as well, zero maintenance. Lots of things that you don't have to plant and reharvest, plant and maintain constantly.
It's a perennial growing system, yeah.
Yeah, so they're there for a long time, sort of thing, like tree plants, fruit plants. And
yeah, that's the thing that I'm especially enthusiastic about, but want to be part of a bigger thing as well. But yeah.
And what things would you get there, like berries and things like that, or what kind of things? Strawberries,
yeah, so,
they grow by themselves, don't they?
Well, in theory, it's got 7 layers to the forest garden. So you have trees, which could be like nuts and fruit, and you have bushes, and then you could grow stuff. You can also put like vegetables in among it. You can grow like herbs for medicine and like kind of everything all in one, but like it is meant to simulate a more kind of natural system where there's different layers of like succession going on, like yeah, like a really biodiverse area.
It can be highly productive as well in terms of
Yeah,
the yields.
you could use it as a business as well.
But if it was a community type thing, then like barely anyone would have to do any service to it in the sense of like maintaining, apart from like
yeah, it takes a
planting
lot of energy to set up at the beginning, but because it's mostly perennials you're using or self-seeding annual plants, they'll just grow themselves on. So it's quite an amazing thing to set up that will keep itself going. It will even tolerate a bit of neglect if you know. So
Okay.
that's why I love it, because it feels very like yeah,
Natural.
achievable.
Maybe can you send something about that on the group? Some
Yes.
links, and it would be nice to see, because I'm an ignoramus and I don't really know what it is exactly. But yeah, it would be nice, devotees, if you're inspired by something, or there's something you're working on, something that you've seen that's related to the topic, then just share it in the group that we have, and that will also encourage other devotees, will help with the momentum. Yeah, this is very interesting. I'm inspired by what you're saying. Any other comments on this topic?
Yeah, I think that yeah, the permaculture is definitely like an advanced form of organic farming, and it's brilliant to do because it is like it sustains itself. One thing I want to say on that was like I'm really inspired to like work with the team as well, because I know there's a lot of talk about people having their own individual businesses. I'm really inspired to work with a team of people working with the land, and that we, as a team, we make it work for ourselves, and that we all share in the profits.
Yeah, I like that.
So, you know, like, yeah, you like that. Because with the land as well, the land needs a team to work the land. Like, it might be different, like for that devotee who said he just wants to grow some strawberries. Then it's like one little area that he can work on. But on a bigger, where it's like a diverse range of production, then you work as a team, and it can be more exciting. And you know, people who are more inclined, I think I'm more inclined that way. I mean, teach my Kundalini yoga class and do other things as well, but I am inclined as working as a team on the land and making something beautiful on the land that is also can sustain us financially.
And I think also Amrita as well, isn't it? You've got to do all the processing of all the fruit and vegetables that you harvest. You've got to store it all. You've got to plan for the next year. You need to, you know, prepare beds and everything. It's kind of can be labor intensive, even with a permaculture spin on it. And especially if overall you want to, I mean, with that amount of land down there, there should be no excuse to purchase anything outside of, you know, the farm. But to do that, as you said, you need to think. I mean, I agree with you. I think families having their own allotments and everything would be great. But overall, you need a community effort, I think. It would bring a good spirit to the place. And yeah, well, I think, as you said, it requires that sort of input of energy to produce that amount of food, like year round, you know, come rain or shine.
Yeah, I agree. And also like things like, say, if you want to be as self-sustainable as a community as possible without buying from outside, minimizing our outside buying, and say, for example, to have a fruit orchard with like, we've set an acre for plum trees and cherry trees and apple trees and pear trees. It needs a community effort, because for everyone just try and do it on their little allotment, what can you have? You can have one little pear tree or an apple tree, but really for community, you want a whole area of land, which is like, that's the fruit orchard. Now, who's going to maintain that fruit orchard? And I think also some people might have more material needs, so they might already be successful financially, and they might want to carry on down that road. But other people like myself, who isn't so driven materially and doesn't have much material overheads, I'm more into like the community aspect of it, working together as a team, as a community, making it happen, getting lots of food for the community that we can all cook up and share, and making some money from it, enough to maintain ourselves without the focus being on the money. So I'm kind of really into that as well, personally.
And may I make a comment, please? Also, I think it also wouldn't make too much sense for me to everyone to have their own allotments, and then everyone is growing the same things or almost the same things on different pieces of land. So instead of growing all the veggies and fruits on a common or on a big place in a bigger volume, you know, and then it's less effort. It's more organized. You know, it's the manpower and all the efforts are not splitted. They are concentrated on one land, and then it could be also shared if you make some kind of food business or whatever. 5 or 10% of the produce is yours, but we do all the work together. It's much easier, I think. And to split all the manpower and all your investments, and to do all separately within the same property.
Okay. Yeah, your audio was a little bit rough there, Krishnampi, but I think we got the idea of what you were saying. Yeah, and there's no point in like everybody growing broccoli, spinach and everything, like everybody doing the same thing. We may as well have like a broccoli area and a spinach area. And I really like this, like I'm to go Papa, it's really nice, like the mood of communality, of being together, going out. I mean, I was in the garden for a year and a half in New Vajradam, and I loved it so much because you're just with the other devotees all day. You could be out there talking or listening to bhajans in the sun, breathing fresh air, working hard. It's just like really, really nice. And being with devotees, like not stressful lifestyle, just that, you know, weeding or picking the vegetables or sowing the seeds or whatever. It's a really nice way to associate with devotees. And harvesting together, cooking together, having kirtan together, having classes together. That's what it's all about, really, isn't it? Sadhu Sangha, being with devotees, associating with devotees, getting to know devotees, developing these relationships, living amongst one another. In New Vajradam, it was so nice that, you know, it's just land, it's ISKCON land, and it's only devotees who live on the property. So every house is a devotee house, and you just get to know the devotees and develop a relationship with them. So yeah, nice that you're cutting me off from the economic development spiel and bringing me back to reality of that it's all about sadhu sangha.
Well,
and
I think
go on.
Sorry, Nick.
I was just going to say one other thing that, you know, you might find that comes out of the growing of food, of vegetables and fruit and so on, is that you might find that a particular fruit or something or vegetable, you know, you think, well, why don't we produce, you know, an apple juice or something that you could distribute in a local area? Like one thing might come up that, you know, there could be a market for this, and that could be sold as a communal business. You know, the farm could be famous for a particular type of product that could be used as a profit for the farm as a whole to reinvest.
Quite a few like communities do that, I think, as well. Like New Vrindavan, they like have roses. They've got like award-winning roses in New Vrindavan, and that's how, like, as a community, I think they bring a lot of income.
Yeah, and that can get reinvested into the property, can't it?
Yeah, I think a cash crop is really good, that you grow loads of food for the community that we can all eat, and you can have excess of the food so you can sell that. But then, like you say, you can focus on one crop that does really well on the land. It's really happy there, and that can be a cash for the community. And everyone who's working on the land in that team, they can all profit from that cash crop, and that can be like their real business side of their whole production. But it's just one aspect of it.
Yeah.
I definitely think that's a good idea, isn't it? And what I was going to say, Tarun, about like coming away from economic development, because it's all important. But like, I know that when you get something established like this and you're living simply with like no rent to pay and you've grown a lot of good food, the overheads can become really minimal, like how much actually money you need, because money is only a commodity to get something. But when you've got your roof over your head, you've got, and you're becoming more off-grid, so you've got solar panels, so you get your electricity, and then you've hardly got any bills to pay, no rent to pay, you've created most of your food. Then you don't actually need that much money. And then our community, you can have like a community vehicle that some of you share, instead of everyone needing their own car, you can have one car that's shared between like 5 devotees or something like that. So all the bills and insurance is minimized, and then you can really focus on like maximizing production from the land, and then that naturally brings in incomes. So then money just happens, it's not like an issue, because land is the wealth,
I thought you were going to use a bull cart, no?
He's going to use Ivor's motorbike, his Ivor's Triumph motorbike.
It feels like there was a communal growing effort as well. It's another nice way to bring the community together, like harvest festivals and just experiencing relationship with the Lord through nature as well, which I think probably a lot of us now in the Western world and cities get a very abstract form of, but connecting together, especially with nature and growing things in the spirit of growing for the community. Like the other day we were hearing about some people who had a project of growing veg boxes, and they were working from 5 in the morning until about 11 at night. And we were thinking, oh wow, that's so much effort. But if it's in terms of a community setting, it feels like even if you don't have to work for that long, if you're doing it in a community setting, and I'm growing this for Krishna and his devotees and his beloved parts and parcels, then it actually makes everything so much more fulfilling rather than just growing all that just for a business, just for ourselves, and in a remote area.
Yeah.
Very nice, very inspiring mood. Yeah, very nice point as well, Amita Gopapu, about overheads. That and Krishna, like I was speaking to Ivor when you were there last week at Krishna Prabhu's house, and we were talking about affordable housing for devotees. And I'll just throw this up. It's just an idea that he brought up, or a possibility that he brought up, that they have caravan parks around the UK, or they have like these, what are they called, residential parks, where they have like these park homes. And he was saying that because he has a company that deals with juice, they manufacture a lot of juice, and he deals with that. He deals with fruit pickers, and he lives in East Grinstead, right next to Kent. And he was saying that there's a whole demand at the moment for people to be picking fruit in the Kent area, because all of the people from East Europe aren't coming because of the Brexit situation, and now because of coronavirus as well. So he was saying that you could approach it from this angle, that if we have a connection with some of these companies who need fruit picked, then they have like residential parks for labor that's going to come in and go be picking fruit in the summer. So they build homes on pieces of land to have people to do that. So he was coming up with the idea that if we had some connection with those companies, and we said that we communicate with the council that we need to get permission to put say park homes on our land, because we're going to send, 10 people for 2 days a week to be engaged in that agriculture, then we may be able to get permission to do that. And that may be a way that we could ensure some affordable housing for devotees on that land. So it's an idea, and it could potentially be an opportunity. It would need to be investigated, but I thought it was an interesting take on the whole thing.
Excuse me if I can.
Yes, Cecilia?
I was just going to say, because you were talking about the housing, that I didn't really have much experience. Well, barely any experience of green building, although it's something that's come up in my permaculture. But I personally really love the idea of building natural homes, like earth homes, and whatever. They come in all kinds of shapes and sizes. I mean, I don't know, I don't have much experience of it, as I said, but perhaps, I don't know, that could be something that manifests somehow as a communal effort to build homes that are affordable and natural and fit in with the landscape really nicely, and use local materials, maybe not from that specific bit of land, but from the local area to build them, and built by our own labour, perhaps a communal effort to put up houses all together. That's the kind of how I feel about that kind of thing. Yeah,
I think a lot of devotees feel the same way, especially in terms of cost in getting a house or paying rent or paying mortgages and stuff like that. And a lot of devotees are interested in simple housing. As Virabhadra Prabhu said, I think a lot of devotees have seen these YouTube videos about tiny houses and cob houses and container houses and all of these different things. The real issue is about how we would get permission to have them on the land. That's the real tricky point, because you can build a cob house for like literally £0 from earth and straw and clay, and it will last a few thousand years if you look after it. But the issue is getting permission to do that, and the planning permission to do those things. So that's why Ira was mentioning about that kind of angle of going through being connected to the fruit picking companies and stuff like that. But yeah.
Will you be able to find out about planning permission when you visit the property that you're looking at?
It's not so simple. You have to come up with a proposal of what you would like Krishna Arjun Prabhu. He's the real person to speak to. He's in our group, and he was in one of our meetings. He goes with this every day planning permission. He's a real estate developer. He's a real estate developer. And that's why we're also interested in this property, because if we were going to buy agricultural land, then it's much harder to get planning permission to build anything on it. But if you have a land that already has a building on it, and not just one building, but a few buildings, then one thing you can do is change the purpose of the building. So if it's not for residential, one of the outbuildings, then you can turn it into like office space, and then from office space you can turn it into residential, and then you may be able to get more permission to build more houses on it if it already has houses on it. But it's not easy. So it's possible, but it's not easy to create more housing. So we need to see. I'm sure Krishna will give us the intelligence how to house the devotees.
I've heard from people similar thing to what you just said about if you already have a permanent structure, it's easier to get planning permission for more things. But also heard people talking about if you have a specific reason, even if it's just one person to start with, that they need to, I guess you've already got buildings there, but you need to live on the land, you need to build a house there or something to do that, then it can be a way in. I don't know.
Yeah, that's generally on agricultural land.
Yeah, actually you've got buildings there, so.
But yeah, I'm not sure exactly. We'd have to find out exactly, like this property that we're interested in, what is the land classified as, because some of it may be classified as agricultural land, and there's lots of different categories. Krishna Arjun Prabhu was going through it with us before, but he's the person to speak to about this. Really, he has all of the knowledge. Okay. Anything else from devotees?
Yeah, just like I think if you have an organic farm, and you can have a couple of structures for the workers to live in, so that's something that's possible. And also what Cecilia's boyfriend was saying there about just before about the community effort with the farm, and I think it's a really good point, because farming is like a real community effort. It's a lot of manpower, and there might be devotees involved in other businesses who live in the community And if they're just eating their own food and everything, that's one thing. But if we are growing a lot of food and supplying it to the community and cooking for the community, then it's good as a way of giving back to the community, that periodically we all come together onto the land, even if you're involved in another aspect, you have your own business or different service, just to come onto the land like once a month or whenever, like he said, a harvest season or a sowing season, and everyone come and just put their energy in to keep the farm project aspect going. I think is a really good thing to do, and it's good for us.
Yeah, it's an important point you said, probably, like if it's not just different devotees running different businesses, but actually if we're growing, say, one specific crop on the land, say it's apples, say we grow tons of apples and we make a lot of apple juice and apple, I don't know, jam or whatever, and we're going to be selling that, then that may be one way that we could get some kind of permission for some kind of housing, that, you know, we're working on this, we need to be with the apples, we need to look after the apple trees, we have this, you know, building to where we process the apples, we, you know, cut them up and cook them and stuff like that. It's like, you know, and it works a lot better for us if we can actually provide housing for our workers. Then maybe that could be, you know, some kind of convincing argument for them to allow us to put up whatever,
yeah, I think,
whatever things it is devotees
there's
want to live in.
Doing that.
Huh?
There is a law saying that if you have like a farm, like fruit and vegetable farm or organic farm, you are allowed some permanent structures for workers. I don't know if it's up to 3 non-permanent structures or something, because you need people there like all the time. You have workers there, and especially if you have cows and it becomes like a cow farm, then you need people there all the time to look after the cows. So you're allowed to put structures up for the workers. So yeah, but that's limited how many, but it's still something. It can be an extra few structures that could go up and can house some devotees, for sure.
Yeah, could you, if would be really great if you could look into that a little bit and just send some information of that on the group, like that law you just mentioned.
Sure, yeah, I'll have a read, because I know people who have done it, because I've worked on different organic farms, and I've been on the park, and they've said, oh, yeah, we have people live there, and it's all allowed because of our organic farm.
Yeah, maybe
so
send us some of those examples, like what kind of housing they had on those farms and stuff.
It was pretty much caravans.
Caravans.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's only allowed to be caravans, or that caravans are the easiest non-permanent structure to put up, you know, because they're movable. But maybe you could have something else that doesn't have a concrete base. I think if it doesn't have a concrete base, it can be considered to be log cabin or straw bale building, or there could be other options as well that under that category of non-permanent structure.
Okay, yeah, fantastic. Yeah, very interesting. And it's also something that would make us kind of have a little bit more integrity, that, yeah, we actually are going to be growing our own things. We actually are going to be based on that. We're not going to be like, I don't know, it's like a holiday home working for British Petroleum or something, and then, you know, have our allotment. That we're actually going to be growing things, living off that, walking our talk, you know, and it could actually help us in that way to have a little bit more integrity. Yeah, Krishna Namprabhu, did you want to say something?
Yeah, so I just think Krishna Arjun Prabhu got already this knowledge about, you know, planning permissions and how we can get all those more permissions. So if he's part of the group, then he can tell us without any further research.
Yeah, although he didn't actually mention that specifically, that I think it's good that Amrita Gopal has been on these farms and he's experienced it, he's spoken to them, he's seen that they have that.
Yeah, I don't mind. Just I don't. Sorry.
No, but I agree with you also that Krishnampu he has a wealth of knowledge and things that we don't need to research. We can just go to him. But that point about organic farms, that they have structures for the workers there, he never mentioned that before. In speaking,
especially if there is a livestock, then we can get easier permissions probably.
Yeah, and obviously we want to have cows, you know, like cows are a very important part of any farm community, any Vaishnav farm community. And we have the great advantage that Sitaram Prabhu is setting up his projects, and he wants to collaborate with us. And we can also do it in the beginning with very little risk, that if we have land, then he can lend us cows. We don't need to take the big commitment of buying cows and having our own cows. He can lend us cows, and we can cooperate with him and learn in that way and try it like that. And so that's a big help, I think. Otherwise it's a massive commitment to just get, you know, buy some cows, and it's like having children, then you have to look after them until they die.
Sorry, did you say that there was a group for the cow protection?
Do you not know Sitaram Prabhu?
Oh no, you were saying that there were different groups for each, you know,
WhatsApp groups.
for WhatsApp groups for each part of the project. I was wondering if
there's one that we have in this vision, which I was just editing. Okay, we have a department called agriculture. Actually, on here it's called agriculture / cows. Virabhadra Prabhu volunteered to be in charge of it, and Paramananda Prabhu, Cecilia, Brandon, they were all enthusiastic to be part in that kind of thing. And who else was that? And then you were also enthusiastic, Nick.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Virabhadra Prabhu. Okay, so yeah, maybe what we can do is I can start a WhatsApp group, and Virabhadra Prabhu, you can be in charge of it because you're enthused to do that. And I can add Cecilia, Brandon, Paramananda Prabhu, and Nick. And then you guys can, and Amrita Gopal, would you like to be in that?
Yeah, that sounds great, please.
Okay, and then I'll start that group, and you guys can brainstorm, come up with different ideas. Actually, Rasananda Prabhu should also be in there because he's, you know, making plans in terms of strawberries and courgettes and different things like that. And then you guys can discuss, brainstorm, come up with ideas, plans, share some ideas, and build up some momentum and build up some vision and some plans. Yeah. Okay, I'll create that after this meeting.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Valamimash?
Yeah, I mean, just that last thing we were talking about, the accommodation, and do you remember, you know, I spent you that text. I know you just mentioned it about having a park home or something. So I don't know how many families you're envisaging will be living there, or individual people. It might grow over time, but like, would it be 10, or is it going to be 30 families? And I mean, how many homes are we going to want on the land, individual homes? And, you know, I mentioned about like applying for a license for like a park home or something. Not that we want devotees living in something and then, like you say, working for Shell or BP, but just as a way that we can get lots of permission for lots of structures in one go. Like if we apply to be a park home and a campsite, we can have yurts for the glamping, and we can have some kind of impermanent structures as for the park home, and get it all done in one go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how many, and to be honest, although it's like devotees aren't going to take us that seriously until we actually have land, you know. I mean, it's very nice devotees are interested. I've been talking about farm projects since I came back from Hungary, which is like a year and a half ago now. Lots of devotees are interested. There's a whole buzz, you know, there's investors. Soho's interested, Ahimsa is interested. But until we actually have land, you know, and a few devotees there, it's like no one's going to take us that seriously. But when we actually have it, and then we can show people, yeah, we've got some cows here, we're growing some vegetables, we're having programs, then I think if we can actually provide some kind of affordable housing, our devotees will flock there from lots of different areas, you know, from the UK and from other areas. So yeah, I mean, we need to make a plan for it really, because in one sense, it may be good to kind of build it up gradually. That, you know, you were saying if it's an organic farm, then maybe we can, you know, put a caravan on for, you know, one devotee or one family, and then get 3 caravans or something. It's like, you know, if you make steps, then it kind of, you know, opens it up. But the other point that you were saying, that, you know, if you just kind of like do a blanket thing, okay, well, you got this 10 acres, here's your license, you can put impermanent structures on there for your workforce, then it's easier. I think we have to push and see like what's the best way that we can take it forward. So maybe like in like a needle, out like a plow. But if it's just like, in like a needle and then, it's just immediately done. Well, not in like a needle. We just ask them, can we do it like a plow, please? And they're like, yeah, cool. We like plows. And they got, okay, 30 acres of, park homes or caravans. Then, obviously that's cool.
I think
That's ideal.
the locals might kick off if you stick 30 caravans there.
That's
Yeah.
the problem.
Yeah, it's a sensitive thing.
I think possibly I was just thinking while you were talking about it, if also possibly from the charity angle, you may be able to get permission as well. And I noticed you put something about environmental policies or something on the
Funding,
WhatsApp
I think I put
for funding. Exactly. So, I mean, I've known of a few sort of biodynamic farms and so on. And I think if you're, following certain policies of environmental, practices and so on, you might get around planning reservations like that. Do you know what I mean? And also, I don't know how much of the farm would be like a charity, but that also might help your cause.
Yeah. Okay. If you have any examples of that, Nick, please send them to
Yeah.
us. Like,
Okay.
if that has helped people in terms of
I could look
acquiring
into it. Yeah.
Yeah, please do. That
Yeah.
would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're also not sure exactly how the structure is going to work. Is it going to be a charity? Is it going to be a company? Is it going to be a not-for-profit company? Is it going to be various different things? Each devotees have their own company. Or it's something that we need to research. And also, I need devotees to look into these things. Like, what are the advantages and the disadvantages of these different structures? Like, if one devotee would like to speak to Sitaram Prabhu and ask him why he chose to be a not-for-profit company, then that would be interesting to know. We need different devotees to take on these different tasks to check these out. Like, what are the benefits and the downsides of being a charity? What is the, I'm sure different devotees will have their own businesses, but it's like I know a few devotees who would donate now to the project. And I'm inclined to think that, just tell them, okay, just donate, yeah, we're not a registered charity or anything at the moment, but, they know us, they know me, they trust me that I'm not going to spend it on a Porsche 911, that, yeah, donate, give something. But then if it starts to get more developed, then we will have to have some kind of, official structure for this, seeing as we're not like an official ISKCON project right now. Yeah. Okay, I think I'm going to have to go because I've got lots of boring packing stuff to do. But it was very inspiring. Thank you all very much. I really like the idea of, that kind of the community being very important and that integrity and, yeah, actually walking our talk and living a simple life amongst devotees. And that's the essence of the whole thing, is actually to associate with devotees and live a simple, pure life in Krishna consciousness. So thank you for bringing that up in today's meeting. That was really nice. And then yeah, we meet again next Saturday. I'll be a little bit less preoccupied with what we're doing, and then Amrita, you won't be too far away. Virabhadra, let's see what's happening with you. Cecilia and Brandon, you're moving down to Canterbury in September, right?
Our plans might have potentially changed a bit drastically, I'm afraid.
They might potentially have changed a bit drastically.
Yeah, potentially we'll be in Brighton, in Brighton, but
with full intentions to really want to be involved with this.
Yeah.
Although at first, like, we might not be like right on the doorstep like we thought we would be. In Canterbury, but still that we could find a way to be very involved, maybe to come visit there for, I don't really know.
I think also it's a good opportunity for us to learn more. Like, there's lots of permaculture projects there, and earth shipbuilding projects there and things like that. So it's a good chance for us to like save some money by working and
yeah,
learn
we
more.
were thinking about saving some money to contribute. I mean,
And,
if we could.
and then if we can still keep in contact, and as soon as there's a possibility of doing full-time service on the land and things like that, we'll jump straight on it, really.
And also we have our friend Radha Priya. I told her about Bhakti Project. She really loved the sound of it, and also would like to. We might try and do a meeting with her one week.
Yeah, I should get in contact with her because she sounds very nice. And
yeah, I
lovely.
did send her the link to the Visiony thing, and I sent her your Facebook page, but I don't think she has WhatsApp. Maybe
she's not very good on the internet yet.
Okay.
But
and then Nick can give you a lift down to Ashford because he's just over there in Peacehaven.
Is that in Brighton?
Next to Brighton, right?
It's a couple of towns along from Brighton, small towns. Along.
Yay! Thank you.
Okay, guys, thank you very much. So yeah, keep in touch, and I better go. But then we're here, so I think it's nice. We're developing. I'm still recording, so I can share that with other devotees who couldn't make it. They were asking for us to record it. And tomorrow, I'm meeting with Krishna Nam Prabhu, Krishna Mai Mataji. Virabhadra is working on his plan for what was it? Grow. What are you going to grow?
I'm thinking of microgreens.
Microgreens. Okay. Okay. And I'll make this WhatsApp group, and you guys can discuss about agriculture and cow protection in there.
Cool.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you all for joining us. Nice to see you, Nick, after 20 years.
And you.
Hare Krishna. All the best.
Good luck with the move.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. Haribol. Haribol.
Haribol.
Haribol.